All right. Students, welcome to a little discussion on a pretty amazing tool that we're going to go through and show you how to install using Yarn if you so choose to do so. And I'm also going to take a path to show you how to use this tool without installing anything at all. So we have two options here. If you don't want to put anything on your computer that is a global package and a command line executable, then you don't have to. Okay, I'm going to show you both options. I'll kind of show you how to do both, right? So the first thing I want to do is kind of talk to you about how we have been working in this React developers environment this week. So far, you've been given projects that already have React projects built into them. So you haven't had to do much in the way of actually getting a React project up and running from scratch. Whereas next week, you're going to start to build a project from scratch starting Monday afternoon. So we need you all to make sure that you walk through this video and reach out to your PMs or even myself or Lambda staff, or just put it in the general help channel or your specific cohort channel and get the help that you need to make sure that you have this tool installed. The tool that we're going to be using is called Create React App. So we're going to use this really cool tool that Facebook built that's going to allow us to put together all of our boilerplate, or all of the files and the things that we're going to need to work within a React environment. Now, the reason that this boilerplated project exists is because the Facebook team saw that there was a lot of fatigue around the JavaScript ecosystem at the time that React was gaining in popularity, because to make a React app work, it's not as simple as just taking a script tag and plugging it into a simple HTML file. You have to go through the process of putting in what we call a Webpack configuration and using this thing called Babel, which we talked about a little bit this week. So I want to make sure that you're very well aware of this tool. So once you have it installed, you'll be able to run this command, create React app, and it'll build this environment for you. And this is what the solution to the problem was that the React team came up with. So right now, if I try to run this, you're going to see there is nothing on my user local bin that allows me to execute that command. So we're going to make sure that we can do this, okay? And I'll walk through the installation process really quick, and then I'll take us through the documentation, which I will link out to you, or you will have linked out to you this weekend, or through the command or through the training kit, okay? So since we all are using Yarn, I'm going to go ahead and use the yarn add global command. You don't have to do this right now, but this is how you would install this globally, okay? So I'm going to just yarn add global create React app, and it's going to go and add this package to my executable file, my binary file, right, my bin file. So now I'll be able to run this command and get some sort of output. So let me show you how this works now. If I run create React app, what's going to happen? Ooh, it didn't actually install it globally. So, okay, so there was a problem with my installation. So you can already see that you could get this mixed up. What happened is I need to actually put global before I actually run the add command. And this should work. So we'll see if it does. Okay, now let's try running create React app. And you can see, okay, so now I have that executable on my machine. You can see that it's giving me some hints as to how I'm going to create a project now. So one thing that I could do is inside of the project directory that I'm currently at, it would just, I could run that command and it would actually go and install an application using React, okay? So for example, they give you a little example here. Create React app and then specify my React app. Okay, so let me show you how this works. So I'm just at my root. Normally you want to install create your React apps in the directory that you will have from your forked repositories from GitHub, because you're going to be building projects from scratch now. Okay, so once you have this installed, if you choose to install it, you can then run create React app and name your project whatever you want. I'm going to call it my amazing React project. And you're going to see that it's going to go and run all of the installation. This is going to take a while for those of us who have slower processing, but that's fine. You only need to run this once per project that you work on. So I'm going to reiterate, You only need to run this command once per project that you work on, okay? And only if we haven't given you the project built with React already, okay? So there will be commands or specifications in all of your documentation moving forward as to when you're gonna need this, okay? So now that I have installed that at my root, I should be able to open up my awesome, what did I call it? Let's remember what I called it. My amazing, okay, React project, okay? So now we're gonna CD into my amazing, okay? And I'm just gonna open it up in Visual Studio Code so we can kind of see what's going on there. So now that I have it opened up, we can take a look at what was all installed for us, okay? Just out of the gate, Create React App gives us a variety of files that we would need to work in a React environment. One of those is the package.json file, which gave us these 3 dependencies, okay? And then these 4 scripts, okay? So this is how you're able to run yarn start, right? You'll notice that it already also installed this node modules directory. So that means we're ready inside of this directory, inside of this project, my amazing React app project, to work within a React environment. So all I would need to do is make sure that I'm in the root of my project that I built with Create React App. All I would need to do now is run yarn start, and it should pull up a development server the way that we have been doing in class this entire week. So as that pulls up on localhost 3000, this is the boilerplated React app project, okay? This process is also known as boilerplating, jump starting, or catapulting. You know, you'll hear various amounts of terms. Another very common term that you'll hear is bootstrapping. You know, bootstrapping a project means it's already built for you. So not to be confused with the styling library Bootstrap, okay? So it already gives you a little project, this cheesy background and header and spinner here with the welcome to React. You'll notice that a lot of our projects are sort of built with this kind of stuff still remaining. But let's take a look at the code base that it downloaded for us. In our source file, src, you'll see that we have an app.js file, which is sort of where that header, that spinning logo, and that welcome to React content all live, as well as that paragraph tag that talks about getting started, etc. Okay, so that is all akin to this information right here. So that is what the app.js file is. We have an index.js file, which is taking our app component and mounting it to the DOM. Okay, so it's mounting it where the root is found inside of public index.html. Now, a lot of this should already be pretty familiar to you at this point because you've worked on a variety of projects that were built in this manner, okay? And you can also go into the index.js file. You're never gonna need the register service worker here in our class at Lambda School. It may be something you're interested in working and learning more about, but there is that file. You can go ahead and delete that if you want from any of your Create React App projects if you don't, or just don't touch it. That's kind of the idea. You can either delete the whole file and then delete where it's being imported and then this function, but you don't really need to worry too much about it. And then you can also delete the test file. We are going to get into some testing later on in the course for you, so you can learn more about automated testing, but you don't need to know too much about it at all right now. So, some of the things that are interesting, around testing is that even if you sent this information up to to a sandbox environment like Code Sandbox, and you try to deploy this project up there, then what would happen is if you change any of this information, this test would fail and your application will get an error. And so that's just a little heads up that you may not even need that test file. So it is something you can go and delete if you'd like. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what happens when you use Create React App, is you get this, this project put together. Okay, so I'm gonna just go ahead and close that out, and I'm gonna exit this, and we're gonna stop our little server here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to uninstall that project. So I'm going to uninstall using yarn global remove, so I don't have Create React App anymore, so that I can show you what it's like to use this without using Create React App. Now, since you are using Yarn already, you have the latest versions of NPM and Yarn and everything, or you should be able to run this command. So you can try running this, and if it works, awesome. If it doesn't, then you might need to go and install Create React App globally to get it to work. But one command that I really like to use is npx, and that should have come with your version of Yarn. Once again, if it doesn't, I may be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure. Oops, I'm going to CD back out of this project so that I'm not inside of that, and I'm going to do a forced remove on that. So okay, just so that it deletes all those node modules because I don't need them anymore. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run npx create React app, and I'm going to say create React app my amazing React project. Again, remember I just removed that, I just deleted it even from my trash can. So npx will actually go and run an executable, but it's going to just quickly download a couple of binary files and execute the Create React App executable from those binaries, and then it will go and remove those later. So you don't have any mess, any extra bloat that you don't need if you don't want it. In fact, this is the preferred way from the React documentation that shows us how to work with Create React App. Yeah, so as soon as that goes and installs my, my amazing project, we'll open it up in code, and you're going to see it has done virtually the same exact thing as before, where I have an SRC file, the app.js. I can run a yarn start and get this whole thing up and running. Okay, so I highly recommend choosing the path that fits best for you, whether or not you have enough hard drive space and hardware to support another global package, or if you don't want to, use the npx command because you ought to be able to use it at this point. And if it doesn't work with the later versions of Yarn, I'm sure that I will receive a few DMs over the weekend. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. The documentation that you will be handed will be called Create React App. A link, let me pull it up really quick. A link that takes you to the GitHub for Create React App, the Facebook GitHub, right? And you can see the user guide and how it all works, and even see that they recommend using npx. Okay, so it should work on Mac, Windows, and Linux. So we should all be covered here with our current setups. Okay, so if there's any problems or anything you have, make sure you run through the documentation as much as you can. Make sure you kind of go through what's there, and yeah. Really awesome stuff. Okay, if you need anything else, once again, we're always just a direct message away. Thanks for stopping by.